Yo, welcome to Pitch Report. I'm Mario.
And I'm Amilcar.
I am glad to be back. Mic feels warm. Thank you, Mr. Leo. Really appreciate you hosting while I was gone. We do need to have you back, not just when someone goes to Japan. Your opinions matter a lot more, not only when one of us is traveling.
I was going to say, you're a little rusty. You're like, oh, welcome to Pitch Report.
Because then I thought, I was like, wait, Amilcar was going first when I was gone. I was like, I kind of like you going first better. So I just hesitated for a little bit.
I know you made hosting look very easy. I will say the first probably episode or two, I was just like, Mario usually does this, man. I just like come in with the hot takes, the opinions, and then he does all this other stuff.
No, you guys were amazing. Again, shout out Mr. Leo for the hosting. I could have done without a shot or two to my personal name or to my teams.
I know, that's what, every time we finish the recording, we're just like, damn, we're just like destroying all of Mario's teams. Like, this is rough. And he goes like, yeah, maybe he's not going to want to travel next time.
No, I love that you guys had me laughing listening to you guys. But hey, we came back, me and the teams, with some wins over the weekend. So all is good now. Manchester United got a win at Anfield, first time in 9 years, and Barcelona, it wasn't pretty, but they got a W as well. So things are looking up.
Yeah, exactly. Now you just need Chivas. I don't know if they won, but I'm sure Mr. Leo's keeping track of that. And I know he was stoked because Cruz Azul beat America, so he was very excited about that.
Yeah, shout out Mr. Leo, 2-1.
Yeah, but no, good thing. Man U finally figured it out. I don't know if it's as much as Man U won or Liverpool's just like they're in a rough little run here. I think it was their fourth straight match or EPL that they'd lost, right?
Yeah, they were talking about how it's been like a long time. I don't remember how long, but it's been like, I think they were saying like 1950 something since they lost 5 in a row. So 4, it's probably been a good amount of years as well. But hey, I don't want to take away from Manchester United. I think maybe finally Ruben Amorim's system starting to work. So we'll see.
It's one match.
Dude, they won 2 in a row.
Hey, our friend with the haircut, he's only got 3 more matches.
Our sharpening those sisters.
Oh my god! Wait, who do they play for the next 3 matches? I'm curious if they have like some maybe easier matches, because I'm sure when he was looking at the schedule, I'm sure he was like, okay, well, this is probably going to be an L. This is probably going to be an L.
Going to reach after Liverpool. They're probably thinking.
Yeah, I'm sure he like probably looked at the whole season. All right, like maybe it'll be here, or maybe it'll be like over here that they'll win 5 in a row. He's probably like actually checking that.
All right, so they have Brighton at home, and then they're at Notts Forest, who have been doing very bad. They currently don't have a coach. And then they finish like what would be game number 5 at Tottenham, so they get a little rematch of the Europa League final. I mean, this is probably a good chance to get us the 5 going. None of the teams they're playing are doing particularly well. I mean, Tottenham's okay right now, but other than that, they're higher ranked than all the other teams. So
I was going to ask if they're including European competition, but then I realized there is no European competition.
No, they're still in the FA Cup, but by losing in the Carabao Cup, they did make it a lot harder, because that was like a really, like, it should have been a quote unquote easy way to get wins on weekdays. So you could have been like arguably 2.5 weeks been out of like gotten like the 5 wins you need. But so be it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Nottingham Forest, you just mentioned like they don't have a coach. I was actually going to like bring something up that I thought was really interesting, or wanted to get your take on it. Like, I don't know if you saw, like, I think their last coach only lasted like 39 days, and it was the ex Tottenham coach who basically like got fired. And the guy before that, I think it was Espiritu Santo, also got fired. But I saw some stuff online about like, and this was last year, where the owner is like coming out into the field, like yelling at the coach, yelling at the players, and just like kind of like very involved. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on like, how do you feel about ownership getting involved in like the day-to-day stuff. And I think you probably have a pretty interesting take because Man U, I think, is unique in that situation. And for myself, Real Madrid, I think the president's pretty involved, maybe behind the scenes, but not as much up front, like in the cameras. So like, how do you feel about like ownership should just play their part in like the financial back end of it, or should they play a part in like the sporting side of it?
I think it depends. Like, is that your ability? Like, do you actually know sports like that? Or are you just like a money guy or like a business guy? It depends, you know? Like, if you look at Jerry Jones with the Cowboys, he like in many ways is like the face of the franchise, and that could be like a good thing in many ways. Or you see that with
Some would say it's not.
yeah, some would say it's not like Mark Cuban. I feel like some people have like good connotations to being part of the ownership group, so it really depends. Um, I think if you're the Notts Forest coach, you also have to be realistic. You need to give coaches a bit more of a chance. Like 39 days, like is not a long time. It takes a while to implement a system. And with Nuno, who's not doing too well at West Ham right now, but what he did with Notts Forest, he had him like playing European football. And yeah, the next year like was good, but like be realistic too. You're not Forest. You're not one of the big six teams. Like, what were your expectations? Like, I understand you want to you expect the best quality, but do you have a product and an infrastructure to have best quality consistently? So, but yeah, so I think it depends. If you're good at it, then you should.
Yeah, I like kind of disagree. I think that like ownership should focus on ownership stuff and like do that side of things. I also think it's interesting like when you have your owner coming down and kind of like reprimanding the players and reprimanding the coach on the field and everyone can see that. Like I think it also detracts other people from coming to your team. Like I don't know that you want someone to come or like you already have your coach, right? Coach, sporting directors that are going to be very involved in that. But having the owner come out like up front and kind of destroy you after you had lost a match instead of doing it behind closed doors. So I would think that you should kind of just like stick to the financials or whatever you're doing as an owner versus the actual sporting side of things. And you can be frustrated, but I think like coming onto the field, that's just like so uncalled for.
Yeah, in that point, I think you are right. Yeah, because especially like you'll maybe as like a marketing or like a morale thing where like, hey, nice job, or you guys got this. But once you're actually trying to give like practical advice, I feel like you'd be like, okay, bro, I kind of I think I got this, or like I think the coach can like I just listen to the coach. When I'm thinking of like Welcome to Wrexham, where sometimes like Ryan Reynolds or I think um McElhenney does it a little bit more. He tries to like give like inspirational talks or like kind of like get into the football of it. And I think the players are nice and engaged because they have the documentary crew with them. But how much value are they bringing? Like they learned soccer a few years ago.
Yeah, and on the flip side of it, I also think like when you have ownership like heavily involved in the day-to-day of the sporting, like I think you make very different decisions because you're thinking of like the marketing, like per se, like if you spend 100 million euro on a player and he's not performing or he comes late to a meeting or something like that, you're like, oh, well, we're going to play him no matter what because of like the appearance, the marketing. Whereas a coach might say, well, no, we're not going to play him. We need to make a point or he's not fit right now or whatever it may be. And that's where you see, like, I think Real Madrid has a lot of these issues. And I think I read something that Barcelona's kind of having the issue with Lamine Yamal, where they're like saying, no, he's not supposed to start because he showed up late to a meeting. And that's like the rule that Hansi Flick has. Showed up late to a meeting, you don't start, you kind of come off the bench, but he started anyways because the president said, nope, Lamine Yamal's starting no matter what, So I think that's why it's nice to kind of have like, checks and balances, have two different, sides of things, so you don't have them blend in because I think they have very different goals, both the sporting side and then the also business side of it.
Yeah. Oh man, I imagine how frustrating that is. It's like when like one parent overrules the other one.
But yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Just like chops you down,
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, the perfect transition is going to be, well, I guess not really. Transition, I guess. But something you also came back to that I'm sure you're very excited about is SDFC being in first place and or it's not being in first place, winning first place, like the last second. I was in Costa Rica watching the match at a bar, and it was just like so stressful the entire time. And then also when their match finished, I think their match was kind of sealed pretty early on. But then watching the Dallas Vancouver match and just waiting for the last final minutes, which it looked like Vancouver was so close to scoring a couple of times, even though they were down a man. So that was super exciting. How do you feel about that? Kind of what are your expectations here for home field advantage?
Well, I'll start with feelings. San Diego FC winning the West Division was the perfect medicine for San Diego Padres being eliminated from the playoffs. Yeah, I think it's just what I needed emotionally in that regard. But it's honestly super cool. They're only the second team to ever win the division. St. Louis City did it 2 years ago with the West, but they didn't score as many points. So it's just really exciting, and we're going to have playoff soccer, and we'll get to be the host team basically the whole way through the playoffs, unless we end up playing Philadelphia in the final. But other than that, we should have home field advantage. So I think it's just amazing. It's some of the analysts were saying that at the beginning of the season that San Diego FC would finish last. Most people didn't have them finishing or making the playoffs. So just the fact that they're there is just so cool.
Yeah, completely agree. I think for the listeners that don't really know kind of how the playoffs work, it's very unique in the MLS compared to all other world football, where basically in the rest of world football, the winner with the most points after the regular season kind of wins the cup. And in this case, they do have that in MLS, where that's the Supporter Shield, which Philadelphia, I believe, won a couple of weeks ago. They were the highest points. But now you go into basically a bracket challenge, which is normal with the U.S. sports having the playoff bracket. The first round is actually quite interesting because I think it's the very, very unique, and I feel like it's very American sports like, but doesn't make quite a ton of sense. But they play three. It's like best of three, so it's home, or in SDFC's case, it'll be home, away, and then home again if they need a third match. They play the regular time, and then they go straight to penalties. Basically, there's no extra time, and there has to be a winner after every game. So you can't have a 1-1 draw, a 0-0 draw. There's no draws because every game has to have a winner. So you can do best of three. So away goals, home goals, kind of that goes out the window. So yeah, regular time and then penalties and then best out of three, which is so American.
Oh, wow. So I knew about the 3 games. The penalties, like there has to be a winner for, or part of it is kind of news to me. Wow, it's pretty interesting. And I think you were saying, Mr. Leo were saying in one of the episodes how who knows if home field advantage is an advantage for San Diego FC just because they've been significantly better on the road. So it'll be interesting seeing them, when they're playing at home. And for example, like Portland tied 0-0 at San Diego, but then this final game, San Diego on the road won 4-0 against the Timbers. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, we might get to play them in the first round also, right? Because it's them, and do you know who they're playing in the wild card round?
Our boy Diego Luna.
Which we went 1-1, right, with them.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want Portland just based off of our recent performance there.
Yeah, I would take Portland as well. But you're talking about the bracket. I know we both made a bracket from like the MLS bracket challenge. How do you have the playoffs playing out? And we'll share each other's brackets in our Instagram and X channels as well, so you can all see them.
Yeah, let me just hop back in there. I think it's funny because we did our brackets individually, but then I ended up looking at yours right after, and then I realized we have a very similar bracket, almost identical except for 2 different matches. So we have, I think, goes without saying, or I guess, how do you want to break it up? Do you want to just go maybe round by round, or do you want to just do some teasers on big upsets or anything?
Yeah, we could do like just quickly round by round.
Yeah. So I guess my initial, I have obviously San Diego going all the way, so that one goes without saying. Them winning it. I have Minnesota beating Seattle. Excited about that one. LAFC's been playing really well as of late, especially with Son. Ever since his addition, I think it's been night and day how they've been playing. Same thing with Vancouver. I have Vancouver winning because with Thomas Muller, they've been kind of unstoppable outside of losing that last match against Dallas, which is going to be a rematch of that the last week's match. On the other side, I have Philadelphia and then Charlotte. Charlotte also playing really well. So I think they've kind of turned it on the second half of the season. Miami against Nashville, I have Miami winning, and then Cincinnati winning the match against Columbus.
So then for your final, you have San Diego and Charlotte?
Yeah, San Diego, Charlotte. I have Miami, Charlotte in the semis, and then San Diego, LAFC in the semis, and I have San Diego, Charlotte, and obviously San Diego winning the whole thing.
Okay,
I really
cool.
don't want
Yeah,
Miami to be in the final.
Really? Wait, I do, because we would have, if my math is correct, which it might not be, we would play them at home. So it'd be pretty cool to see Messi
I guess that's true.
play live. So that's the reason I'm hoping that Miami makes it to the final. That and like see half of Barcelona from 10 years ago.
Yeah, and it'll be a retirement ceremony for Sergio Busquets and who's the defender? I'm blinking on his name.
Luis Suarez?
No, Jordi Alba.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like they're retiring after this year, so I guess in the final, as long as San Diego wins, that'll be a nice retirement party.
Yeah, exactly. I have very similar setup as yours. I have San Diego going all the way. I mean, you have to, and they've shown it on the field that they can, at least during the regular season. We'll see how that translates to the playoffs. But for similar reasons as you, I have LAFC in the semis against San Diego, just because they've really been playing well since Sonny came along. So I have them beating Vancouver in the quarterfinals. So ultimately I think it'll be a SoCal semifinal, and then on the East I have Philadelphia getting upset by Charlotte, because kind of like you, I think they've been playing really well, and they really impressed me when they kind of like just kicked our butts earlier this season. So I just have that kind of presence. I think that they could play pretty well. And then I have the semifinal being Charlotte and Miami. And yeah, hopefully like we said, we have a retirement ceremony for a few former Barcelona players, and San Diego FC wins San Diego's first major sports trophy.
Yeah, that'd be super exciting. Like you said, it would make up for the Padres and not being able to get past the
word.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely do that. Don't want to jinx it.
Wait, sorry, I know, like, flagged me down. She's like, knock on wood.
Hey, she may have saved us there.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say a lot of the predictions that we've made on this podcast have come true, so that's very fair. So yeah, I mean, hopefully it works out. But I think you said you're gonna put the bracket challenge on the show notes, right?
Yes, the show notes will have a link. So anyone that's listening, you're welcome to join. When you click on the link, you just have to create an account with MLS, and then you can enter the bracket. It's called, I believe, Pitch Report 25. So that should basically get you into the challenge, and you can play against Amilcar, myself, and anyone else that joins.
Sweet. And speaking of brackets,
correction.
Good.
Oh, I know where you're going, but just quick correction. It's Pitch Report MLS 2025.
Yeah, we had to troubleshoot a couple of things there, because apparently you can't use the word bracket because that comes off as like a bad word. But like I said, speaking of brackets, there, the perfect transition to our next topic about the Champions League. Cue the Champions League anthem. We have There we go. All right, no, we have to make that into a little audio bite that we could just like throw in there every time. Mario singing. But yeah, we have another big week coming up, midweek games, which are exciting. There's a couple of doozies, but I think the ones that are pretty big that I'm excited to watch is gonna be obviously the Real Madrid Juventus game, which I think is one of the top games, along with Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, Eintracht Frankfurt, and Liverpool, just to see if Liverpool kind of keeps sliding down there. And then the last one that I'm really interested about is going to be the Leverkusen PSG, because I think that they always put on a good match, and Leverkusen's kind of not been the same Leverkusen as of old. So we'll see. But are you excited about any of these matches?
Yeah, I'm excited to see the Barcelona game against Olympiacos. Hopefully, they can just continue winning. And they had a tough last minute loss against PSG last round, so it'd be just good to see them climb up to the leader, or just further up the table. Arsenal, Atletico should be fun. Arsenal's been playing pretty well. Atletico hasn't necessarily been great, so I think that'll be an interesting one. And I'm still amazed that Champions League is here. And we kind of talked about it last year, that every year, like, we learn about a new team we haven't heard of in the Champions League. So it's definitely true for me. But are there any teams that you hadn't heard of before that are in the Champions League this year, Amilcar?
Yes. The one that I had never heard of that is actually a quite a surprise in the standings as well is Quarabag FK, and they're ranked 6th right now. They won both their matches that they played so far, and it's from the first place in Azerbaijan Premier League. So never even heard of them before. And yeah, they're in 6th place, and they're going to be playing Atletico Bilbao. So that might be, a tough match that they're going to have to go up against.
Yeah, I had not heard about them either. That was like one of them for me. And I had another one. It was like the Belgian team, which is also like Saint Germain. But this one's Union Saint Germain. That was a team that I had never heard of before. Actually, there's a third. FC Kirat. It's a Kazakhstanian Premier League team. So it's 3 for me this year, actually. Oh, I'm going to make it 4.
Which one?
Paphos. I've never heard of that either.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple when you go to the bottom, like Slavia Praha or Kairat. Or FC Kairat. I think you already said that one. But yeah, the Kazakhstan team, Real Madrid played against, so they had to fly, I think it was like 16 hours or something crazy, all the way to basically the border between Kazakhstan and like Russia. I think it was very close. And so they were saying like it was basically like flying to like America, and how crazy that is.
In the middle of the week, and then you have to play again on the weekend.
And that's what's crazy, because they could have played in Madrid, but they had to go away for that one. And yeah, they imagine like doing that. You fly 16 hours, you play a match, then you come back another 16 hours, and then maybe 2-3 days later you're playing another match, and just imagine like the jet lag and just the exhaustion of flying.
Must be fun being on those flights. Like, I'm sure they can walk around, kind of just like talk to each other and
yeah.
stuff.
I mean, they're flying first. I'm sure it's basically like sleeping in a hotel room. I wouldn't know. I've never flown anything other than economy. So for me, it's not fun flying.
I've done premium economy recently, and it's a difference. It's nice.
Whoa, yeah, what a flex.
Yeah, just very recently that, but yeah.
So would you say you got better sleep? Or was it more restful, flying back from Japan or wherever you were in Asia than economy?
I would say, because you could lean back more. It's not, you don't lay flat, but you can recline more. You kind of recline like if you're at the dentist, I would say, but not.
Wait, that's basically lay flat. I don't know about your dentist, but mine's almost like too reclined.
No, okay, you're right. Not the dentist. You just recline a little bit. So,
okay, it's probably like a train seat. I feel like that one reclines a little bit more. It's like a little bit more comfortable than a plane. I feel like you recline that thing and you feel like you're still sitting up front in economy. Like you're like, this is like 0% reclined.
Yeah, so maybe like a train would be more like it.
There you go, man. I mean, so if you feel like it's more restful, and then imagine getting to lay flat, so it may as well be a hotel of the skies.
Yeah. Well, we're
So
talking
yeah.
about Real Madrid's travel schedule. Well, they will be traveled. Actually, no, Barcelona will be traveling to Real Madrid this weekend.
Hmm.
We got a Clásico coming up.
I know it's going to be a very interesting Clásico because there's like a ton of injuries on both sides of the ball here. Like, I think Barcelona, Lamine Yamal, I think is still questionable to actually play, and then Lewandowski, I think was also questionable. I don't know if Pedri's going to be playing. So, and then on Real Madrid side, I think Mbappe was injured for France, but I think he played this weekend. But the back line, like Dean Housen's injured for us, and so is Alaba. He went off injured again. So just the injury bugs always makes it a very interesting match. But I will say, like, this is such a unique match that no matter how the team is doing before or after this match, it like anything can happen. And we saw that last year when Real Madrid was doing really well in first place, and then Barcelona just thrashed Real Madrid. And not to say Barcelona wasn't doing well, but like it just seemed like Real Madrid was just cooking, and then they got thrashed.
Yeah, yeah. Like you mentioned, like it usually like every all history goes not all history, but all like current like standings like go out the window. Usually, any team can beat any team in these setups. I think they're both also not playing their best soccer right now, so it will be interesting to see how they ultimately match up.
Yeah, and I think the part that will be really interesting is like the first time they played last year. I think Kylian Mbappe was offsides maybe like 9 or 10 times in that match because they play that really high line. But now I feel like people have, or like not people, like teams have started to figure out kind of how to beat it by like passing it forward, passing it backward, and then going. So I wonder if Real Madrid's going to be looking at those previous matches and using that and trying to figure out how to use Mbappe and Vinny's speed to try to break that high line, because I think if you can get a goal or two, then the high line just you really can't play that way anymore. And usually like the speed is what burns that, but they did a really good job and they were like really together. That back line was the first time, and so Real Madrid was just kept being offsides. Every single goal was an offsides, whether it was by an inch or like a whole body length.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll admit I don't think I caught the full part of last game, but I've seen Mbappe's definitely hit more of his stride this season. He's kind of been like the main man for Real Madrid. Which do you think that could be an issue? I've heard that with like Haaland at Man City, how he's basically just doing everything, which it sounds funny to say, like scoring too many goals is like maybe a problem, or not a problem, but like is it something that can be sustainable a whole season?
I mean, I don't know. I think with Holland, I think the issue is like, is it going to be enough to get them through, right? Like, are his goals going to be enough? But then again, if he keeps this up and scores 2-3 goals a game, which he's very capable of doing, he can keep doing it. Same thing with Harry Kane in at Bayern. He's just like on a goal scoring frenzy right now. Mbappe at Real Madrid. I don't know. I think the unique situation that he's in is that he is like not just a goal scorer, where I think Holland is basically like, he just basically, I don't want to say he taps in because he doesn't tap in at all, but he's usually like getting the centers, he's heading it in. He's kind of just a finisher per se. But Mbappe, I feel like he plays more of an active role in the buildup of the play. So I think it's a little bit different. So he controls a lot more of the pace and a lot more of the ball going forward. Similar to like a winger would. And I think it makes sense because he is essentially truly a winger that is playing as a striker because he has to, kind of like what Ronaldo did back when he was on Real Madrid as well. The biggest thing with them is, I think, is it going to be sustainable with Vinicius and with the other like studs that they have on the team? And I think Xabi Alonso has not been scared to bench Vinicius and play around with different formations, where I think Ancelotti and other coaches are a little bit more concerned about that. But I think Xavi, because he was a player there and he has like the confidence from the team and how well he did at Leverkusen, he's not worried about like, all right, you're going to the bench, I'm going to bring you off as a sub like he did with Getafe. And it was made a huge difference. But the first couple of matches, like, he wasn't pressing at all. He was just kind of doing the same thing and being the same old Vinicius that people were really frustrated with, that he was just kind of ready to score goals and that's it. But now, ever since he's been benched, I think he's played a very different game. And I think Real Madrid has to play that team press because they press high. So if they don't do that, then it won't be successful. So that's where I think it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, and also Xavi comes in as a new coach. He doesn't necessarily like he's new here too, in a sense, even though he's been at Real Madrid. So he's like, no, this is like I don't owe anyone anything. Like I haven't been like because last year Mbappe was like the new guy, so maybe there's like a level of seniority to a degree. If like you have two superstars, like okay, well maybe I'll give the guy that's been here a little bit longer more playing time. But yeah, I would say that based on how Real Madrid's been playing, I would give them a slight edge over Barcelona going into the game. Uh, I know that the projections have Real Madrid at almost 50% chance of winning, and Barcelona at 30 with like 25% or yeah, like 24% of chance to tie. So it will be interesting to see how it turns out. But I'm sure I'll hear it from you and Mr. Lee.
Only if we win. Maybe if not, it'll be like last time where I went to Japan the second that the Real
Yeah.
Madrid Barcelona game happened. Maybe I just want to show up and Mr. Lee will fill in for me.
Yeah. Whenever our teams are doing bad, we just go to Japan.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, that's kind of a nice thing to do, you know. If only that was actually true, you know. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna go on a trip, you know. Real Madrid lost or Barcelona lost. I'm out of here. I can't be
Yeah.
seen. Yeah. So and I think something that you actually kind of missed out on this entire conversation that we had about the Under-20 World Cup, and I think it was something that I think Mr. Leo was very excited about. And I'm curious about kind of your opinion on it. He was really excited, obviously, because of Gilberto Mora, which I think you've probably been following as well. I think everyone in Mexico has been following his development from the Gold Cup and now playing the Under-20 World Cup, and just the amount of hype he's getting as kind of like the next big Mexican talent. So have you been following that? I guess this is the first question. All kind of the hype that goes with him.
Yeah, I have. It's even like showed up in like my social media. I saw like an Instagram reel of like this guy pretending to be Gilberto Mora's dad and like basically not letting him go out and party with like the rest of like the Mexico national team. And then like all the comments were like, if anyone sees Gilberto Mora out partying, like please put him in an Uber, send him home right away. And like, so yeah, I think everyone's like cautiously optimistic that hopefully like this guy can like really like fulfill like all the talent he has and actually like not mess it up with anything like not soccer related.
Yeah, I guess you have like the PTSD of like Giovanni Dos Santos and stuff, where he was like could have been the next Ronaldinho, but then he kind of just partied a little bit too hard. Allegedly, that's what they say, right? And then he kind of his talent couldn't take him further.
Yeah, or Marco Fabian too. He was a really good player, maybe not like this sought after by teams, but he was really good, but also known like as a partier. So where we've had other players that for whatever reason they just don't pan out. They're super hyped. There's a guy in the 2010s, Neri Castillo, who like people maybe don't remember him as much anymore, but he was super hyped up at one point. He did well in like at the like younger level and just never really fully developed. So hopefully this could be the guy. Even if he goes to Real Madrid, it'd be nice to have
Yeah, I think it's
have him
different,
play.
right? Just having a Mexican player, and I think Mr. Leo was just like, dude, like I could see like if he is what we think he's going to be, which my opinion was like I think it's going to take until he's like 18, and if he still continues building till then I think that'll be when you'll be able to tell, all right, this guy's is the real deal, because I think there's so much like development in your body and everything like that. Even with Lamine Yamal, I was really cautious with him at 16. I'm like, so much can happen from 16 till your like body develops, and like I made the comment last time, I was like, there's more Freddie Adu's in the world than there are Lamine Yamal's, Ronaldo's, Messi's. You know, more of those
Yeah.
stories that happen. So yeah, like I think being cautiously optimistic is the right way to go. But yeah, having a Mexican footballer on like the world stage like that, potentially in Ballon d'Ors or in like Golden Boy nominations, would be something super exciting that hasn't been since what, Chicharito, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. That Chicharito would probably be like the last one.
Yeah, and I mean the real thing we were going to comment on about the Under-20 World Cup is it finally finished. The final was yesterday, and Morocco kind of came out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, but like they were the underdog and beat Argentina 2-0. It was kind of sealed pretty early on there, with goals in the 12th and 29th minute, and it's kind of crazy to see how Morocco is not just like their senior team has obviously been playing really well in the last World Cup. They did super well, and they're still doing well now. But seeing how they're building from the bottom, kind of, and like having the under 17, under 20s, winning the World Cup there means like you have players that are going to come in to take over. the senior players, and it's not just players that pick Morocco over like France or Spain or all these other countries. It's like they're actually developing the talent from a young age.
Yeah, absolutely. I was super happy to see Morocco win. I don't know if it's me just being bitter, but like after Argentina beat Mexico, they were like the end of the game got a little aggressive, but afterwards, in like the locker room, the Argentinian players were playing El Chavo del Ocho and like Chespirito's like theme song, which is like a very
Yeah, like
famous
trolling.
Mexican show. Yeah, so yeah, maybe I'm just a little bitter, but it was nice to see Morocco win the first U20 World Cup, and like you mentioned the senior team. I think this is like a good indication of what we might even see in 2026, where I think we're gonna have a few African teams that are gonna do pretty well, and I know Morocco is like just one of the countries, but there's a lot of teams that are looking really, really nice for the upcoming World Cup. So it'll be interesting to see how they end up doing even next year, to be honest.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about like the under 20, under 17 World Cup is I think you can probably relate to it a lot is like a lot of the teams don't end up panning out. Like Mexico has what, 2 under 17 World Cups, and that was like their golden generation, and then it never really made it to the senior team to where like there was even remotely the same success. But I think everyone thought, all right, this is like the year, give it like 3 years, everyone will be like, 18, 19, 20, and then they'll be playing the the senior World Cup. And this is what I mean. Like, I think there's so much of a difference between who a team is and how they are at 17, 16 years old than how they are play against 25, 30-year-olds and the development that happens, later on in life, along with it's also like the under 20 World Cup. You don't have these, like Lamine Yamal doesn't play the under 20 World Cup. Neither do like a lot of these
Oh
huge
yeah.
names. So you have like, I'm not going to say like not the greatest, but like you have like more of the average 20-year-old, average 19-year-old. Like it's not the best of the best. Whereas like they're playing in the senior leagues.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's kind of like you win like the junior varsity tournament, but like but your varsity team might just never be like that competitive. Maybe it's not the best metaphor, but yeah, that's a really good point. A lot of like the like top like senior team countries don't send their youngest best players.
Yeah, but I will say like the quarters, and the semis, they were all the big teams that you kind of expect to be there. Morocco being one of them, because I think we've learned to expect them. Like it was Colombia, Spain, Mexico. The U.S. also had a pretty good run there. Italy was up there. So Argentina, like we said. So I think it there probably is more to what you're saying than what I'm saying. There's probably more of like it is going to be them kind of building up into the senior teams more often than there is not. I also think that the senior teams and the countries that we've been seeing, those are all pretty solid senior teams. So maybe 1 or 2 of these players are going to make it in there to help like strengthen them versus us saying like, oh, well, like the senior team of, I don't know, some random country that is maybe not good. Then their under 17 wins a World Cup. Okay, well, that's probably not going to make much of a difference. It's not going to move the needle with the senior team.
Yeah, I mean, if only that would have been the case. That's where we actually had Giovanni Dos Santos and Carlos Vela. They're 2 of our under 17 World Cup winners. So they made a bit of a splash and in the like senior World Cup, but yeah, never like as a team level. But yeah, we'll have a lot more to break that down as we get closer to the World Cup next year.
Which is crazy that it's coming up so close.
I guess in like
honestly. Like it is
like
wild.
200 and something days.
Yeah. And I guess on that note about like the senior World Cup, I think something that just happened, which was Graham Potter being named the head coach of the Swedish national team. I know Graham Potter was also kind of in the running for that Nottingham Forest job, but named the Swedish national team. How do you feel about non-countrymen being head coaches of national teams? Like, I know we had that with England where Thomas Tuchel became the first ever head coach that wasn't English. Like, how do you feel about that?
Ooh, it depends because I'm statistically you won't win the World Cup, so that's just something. If you're trying to win a World Cup, it hasn't been done before, so I think it's difficult. It depends how well you know like the players, the country where you're playing, because for example, if you look at the U.S. national team, I feel like Pochettino did not know U.S. soccer very well. And I think it's been shown, like the players he was bringing up at different stages, he almost seemed like a little bit disinterested. He wasn't really like, for a long time, it just didn't seem like he really understood like U.S. soccer. So I think depends if it's a player or coach that's maybe growing up playing in that domestic league and knows the players well, knows the culture well. I think it can be a pretty good, um, like a good match. But there's also times where they're just very like out of their depths, I would say, where it's just completely different. So it's 50-50. Like right now, Ancelotti, I think he makes Brazil a lot better. He's not Brazilian, but he knows a lot of the players because he's played with them and either coached them directly or seen them as coach or sorry, players he's coached against. So I think if there's some level of familiarity, then it can work. Uh, but it's not every case. But I mean, Graham Potter, I think he'll do well. Sweden has pretty good players, especially that are in the Premier League. So I think it could be a pretty good match. Yeah, so this one I wouldn't be too concerned about.
Yeah,
What
I
do
mean,
you
I
think?
don't think that the expectations are, World Cup or Euros or anything, right? Like it's not like when Thomas Tuchel or Ancelotti are taking over their teams. I think they have the expectation of win the World Cup, or at least get to the final or semis, So I think that's a lot more pressure. But I think you bring up a great point with Ancelotti of like he's coached all these players before, and I think in the case of that job specifically, the Brazilian job, I think 90% of those players are playing in Spain or England or Italy, right? So he needs to know more of like the European football than he needs to know Brazilian football. For the case of Thomas Tuchel, I think he is able to kind of transition more smoothly because he has coached in the EPL, where most of those players play in the EPL. So I think that is probably the biggest takeaway is that do you know the style and can you relate to the players based off of your experience coaching club football, and like a Spanish coach would have to, or sorry, a coach of Spain that's maybe not Spanish has to have coached in La Liga because most of the players play there. So if you don't have any La Liga coaching, it's going to be very difficult to relate or to be able to play with the style. So yeah, I hadn't actually really thought about that until you brought it up.
Yeah, like I think for like Spain, like could you see like Simeone like maybe coaching like Spain national team? Like he's someone that's played there for a while or like coached there for a while.
I think he's a very interesting coach because he plays so different. I think Atletico Madrid plays such a different brand of football than any other La Liga team, honestly. Just so defensive. And both Spain and most La Liga teams aren't really known for playing like defensive, gritty, like what I would call like Latin American football, which is very like just hunker down and very physical, like and gritty football. That's not necessarily what they're known for, and I think that's part of why maybe he's had some issues kind of with that final push with Atletico Madrid getting to the championships and stuff because of the brand of football that he plays. So maybe not him just because of that. But I think you bring up the good point of he has coached in La Liga for so long, which is obviously the benefit for that.
Yeah, and I guess I was thinking more that giving more an example, I guess, of like a player coach that's been there for a long time. Like in Mexico, we have like Tuca Ferretti, who kind of like did coach the national team like as an interim basis, and he's from Brazil, but he's basically been in Mexico for so long. He's essentially like Mexican in many ways. He even like argues for like having more Mexican players on the field. So I think that kind of situation does work well. But yeah, we wish Graham Potter well. Big fan of his cousin Harry. He's done a lot for the Wizarding community, so hopefully he
Oh my.
can also be a successful in the soccer community.
You're a wizard, Harry. I'm also like the last person to make a joke about that because I have not read any of the books, I haven't watched any of the movies. So just the fact that that's like probably a gif somewhere, like a meme somewhere.
It's fall. It's the best time to watch a Harry Potter movies. It's never too late to start, but the fall is the best time. All right. Well, I think with that we can wrap it up. You know what to watch this weekend: Harry Potter marathon. But also check out the playoffs. We're going to be watching to see if San Diego FC plays Portland or Real Salt Lake. Remember, you can find on the show notes our bracket to see what Amilcar and I did, and you can play against us as well. That's it for today. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you making us part of your day, talking soccer and hanging out. Remember, you can find us on Instagram, X, @PitchReport, @_PitchReport. I'm Mario.
And I'm Amilcar. Bye.